Hello everyone, it's Sandra and welcome to July favorites. I don't have too much stuff, but I have enough stuff to warrant doing a video on it. And I also have a couple of random lifestyle-ish type of items that I will include at the end of the video. But we're gonna start with skincare. Actually, it might sound silly, but my whole morning skincare routine has been my favorite over the last couple of months. I have been super consistent with it. I've been doing the exact same thing every single morning, and I did a video on it. So if you missed it, I will link to it up on the screen and in the description box below. But I have been really happy with my morning skincare routine, including a vitamin C serum and SPF every single day, and it's just been making me really happy. It's one of those routines that it's not particularly indulgent or anything like that, but every single morning when I do my skincare routine, I am really happy. And that's why I thought it was worth mentioning. So favorite number one is my entire morning skincare routine. And then the other skincare favorite that I have mentioned before on my channel, but it's worth a mention again because this thing is worth its weight in gold for me in particular, and it's the Zip. It's the Zip Nano Current device. I have had this for almost 2 years now, about a year and a half, and while my consistency with it kind of ebbs and flows, when I am consistent with it, I fall in love with it all over again because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Especially now, they added a program for forehead lines, and I did it last night and I was just so impressed. My forehead just felt really nice and tight. As with all things, consistency is key. I find that I personally get the best results when I use this device at least 3 times a week. I try to do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday as my Zip days. And my personal favorite programs to use are the Sensitive Energize program. That's a really good program if you suffer from a lot of redness and you just want to kind of help calm your skin down. That one's really good. And I also love the Total Clearing program. If you are acne prone, you will love it as well. It just makes such a big difference in terms of breakouts, helping my breakouts heal faster. And I find it especially useful on those deep under the skin cystic bumps. This really helps get rid of them quicker. I am experiencing a little bit of purging now. I recently started incorporating tretinoin in my evening skincare routine. I kind of felt like it was time to graduate from Differin. This has really helped kind of keep the purging at bay, just kind of helps clear things up faster. So cannot say enough good things about the Zip. I'm a big fan of it. I know it's really expensive. My recommendation would be to wait until a Black Friday sale. I bought mine from Cult Beauty, and I think, again, it was like a 25% off thing. And yeah, if you want to save a bit of money, I would suggest waiting for one of those sales to pop around. But if not, even if you pay full price, it is 100% worth it. For me, at least, in my opinion. I think it's fantastic. If you're somebody that's just concerned with, firming and lifting, you can just get a NuFace. Everybody that I know that owns a NuFace is really happy with their device, so I think that would be a great choice if breakouts are not a concern. But if breakouts are a concern, I think it's worth checking out the Zip because it has that extra acne killing capability with some of its electrical cocktail settings. Then moving on to some makeup. Everything is eye themed, so I have a lot of eye products, I guess. I think mascara is such a personal thing, and I think it's worth sharing what I look for in a mascara. My lashes are average at best. They're not too long, not too thick, not too curly, not too straight. They're just kind of there. They do have a bit of a hard time holding a curl, but they can hold a curl with the right product. And I hate waterproof formulas. I want something that's easy to remove at night, but something that will not smudge or flake. About 80% of the mascaras that I try, especially the more volumizing formulas that I try, they all end up smudging and flaking on me within about 2-3 hours of wear. So out of all the mascaras that I've personally tried, the ones that I repurchase the most and the ones that deliver what I want are L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise and Glossier Lash Slick. Now, the Lash Paradise does flake on me. After about 6 hours, I do notice a little bit of flaking and smudging. And the kind of what I do to mitigate that is I actually just do a coat of the L'Oreal and then I do a coat of the Glossier Lash Slick, and I find that that helps the L'Oreal stay on longer. There's just something magical in this Lash Slick formula by Glossier. It never flakes or smudges on me. I've taken this on vacation when it was like super hot, super high humidity, and it never falters. It always looks really good. I do wish this held a curl a tiny bit better, but I love the way it looks. It just gives me really natural looking, long, separated lashes. It's not a volumizing mascara. So I find that when I want more volume, layering the L'Oreal with the Glossier actually gives me a really nice effect. So that's kind of been my go-to combination, but I don't know what happened. The ads just got to me. I ended up buying 2 new mascaras. I bought the new Marc Jacobs at Lash, and then I bought the new Hourglass Unlocked mascara, and I kind of have been putting them to the test over the last couple of weeks. I also filmed some footage of what each of them looks like, and I have to say I really like both of them. So if you have the same taste in mascara as I do, you can't go wrong with either of them. They're really good. Different enough to warrant me kind of mentioning both. Let's talk about the Marc Jacobs first. Marc Jacobs at Lash. This is more volumizing than the Hourglass mascara. It doesn't give me as much length and separation, but it's a really good all-rounder. It does a really nice job at holding a curl and lifting the lashes. It's a really nice balance between length, a little bit of lift, and volume. But if you want more emphasis on length and separation, the Hourglass would be a better option. I did notice a very tiny amount of transferring at the end of the day, but at the end of like 13, 14 hours of wear on a really hot, humid day, which is still really good in my book. You know, if it's just something that I can really easily smudge away with my fingers, I am not bothered by it. The Hourglass lasted just as well as Glossier Lash Slick, but gave more length. So if you tried Glossier Lash Slick, but you wanted a little bit more, Hourglass is like the slightly more glam sister of the Glossier Lash Slick. It gives really beautiful length, beautiful separation, and it lasted all day long. No smudging, no flaking, did a really decent job at holding a curl. And the cool thing about the Hourglass is it uses this type of technology that I've only ever seen in some Japanese mascaras. It removes with just warm water. There's a mascara by the brand Sensai that I've never personally tried, but I know that Lisa Eldridge mentioned it on her channel a couple of times, and Mary Greenwell, one of the makeup artists that I really love, that's one of her favorite mascaras as well. Sensai do a mascara called the 38 degree mascara, where if you use water at the temperature of 38 degrees Celsius, which is pretty warm, then the mascara ends up melting off. Yeah, it just says here to remove, splash warm water onto the eyes, use fingers to gently slide mascara off the lashes. There's just something about the chemical reaction of the warm water. It just makes the formula slide off. You can like peel it off your lashes, which is kind of sounds terrifying, but it's not. It really, there's no tugging or pulling required. You can do it in a really gentle way. So yeah, really impressed. And also, if you don't want to do the warm water thing, you just want to use a traditional cleansing balm or eye makeup remover, you can do that with the Hourglass as well. Marc Jacobs mascara was also really easy to remove. I'm really happy to have 2 new mascaras in my life that I enjoy using. A lot of mascaras, especially high-end mascaras that I try, end up disappointing me, and they end up being things that I don't consider repurchasing just because they're kind of meh, but these 2 I actually would repurchase. I am actually really happy with both. In terms of packaging, the Hourglass feels more luxurious. It's a bit more weighted. The wand is actually identical to the wand of Glossier Lash Slick. I'm going to do some close-up shots so you get to see it, but obviously the Glossier Lash Slick just feels a lot lighter in the hand. The Hourglass is also the most expensive of the bunch at $29 US. Then the Marc Jacobs is $27 US. Really beautiful packaging. I actually think this is a lot more elegant than the volume Noir mascara by Marc Jacobs. This is more sleek. And in terms of the wand, it has this beautiful tapered end, and it really lets you get in there and coat all the lashes evenly. I would assume that this shape makes it really easy to do the lower lashes as well. I don't use mascara on my lower lashes. I personally don't like that look on my eyes, but if you are into lower lash mascaras, I know a lot of people that have really good results with this on the lower lash line as well in terms of the way it wears. And the other eye thing is eyeshadow stick things. I have not been reaching for this type of cream eyeshadow formula in a while. I prefer pots, and I like liquid eyeshadows as well with a doe foot applicator. And my mom actually loves this style of eyeshadow, so I actually gave her almost all of mine, but I did keep a select few, these two being some of them, and these two are exactly what I'm wearing on my eyes today, and they're just so easy. I have been really happy with it. So the first is Nude Sticks Taupe. As you can see, it's very well loved. It's a pencil that you sharpen. It's a really beautiful, soft, matte taupe color. Nothing exciting, but it's the perfect type of product to use on the lower lash line. It blends in beautifully. It's just like a nice combo between an eyeliner and an eyeshadow. You can just, you know, you have the precision of an eyeliner pencil because you can really sharpen this to get in there, but it has a really beautiful ability to blend out. So just a little bit with the fingers, and it diffuses really nicely. And once it sets, it is quite long lasting. It doesn't smudge, doesn't crease, doesn't do anything. So this is my go-to for the lower lash line. Today I did a little bit of it on my upper lash line as well, and just blend it out with my fingers really quickly. And then just in the center, I dabbed some of this Laura Mercier Metallic Taupe Caviar Stick. This is one of the new shades. My friend Vanessa actually gave this to me, and she said it's one of her favorites. She uses it for the inner corner a lot, and it's a gorgeous inner corner color. But look at that gleam. It's just such a gorgeous gleaming color. And if you blend it out, if you shear it out enough, it ends up just looking wet. It has that beautiful wet sheen type of look. So that's what I've been doing, just working it on my ring finger and then just dabbing it in the center for a bit of extra gleam, or just really shearing it out with my fingers just to have that like wet glossy lid effect. And it still has a really decent lasting power. I don't use a primer with it or anything. I do get a slight bit of creasing. I can just really easily blend it back in with my fingers, and I've really been enjoying it. Another magical duo, this time for the under eyes. You know my love for the Pat McGrath under eye setting powder. I feel like I've been talking about it ever since I have purchased this, and I'm still so happy with it. I use the shade Light, and I have really loved applying it with this Hakuhodo brush. This is a Hakuhodo B5521. Initially, when I bought this brush 2-3 years ago, I bought it for highlighter. But to be honest, I haven't really been using powder highlighter. I wanted to repurpose the brush, and I've been using it for my under eye powder. And usually I use my Wayne Goss airbrush for my under eye powder, but I'm actually really preferring the Hakuhodo brush with this particular powder because I feel like it picks up a little bit more, and it just applies it and buffs it in a bit better. And I find with this powder, it looks much better under my eyes if I do a bit of buffing. The Wayne Goss airbrush is really good if you're doing like a loose powder under the eyes because it gives you that sheer, airy application. But since this is a pressed powder, I have enjoyed this brush more to get that extra buffing effect. And then I have a couple of food favorites to share with you. And apologies in advance to my Canadian friends. I don't think that you can get either of these things in Canada, but hopefully in the future. Some cereal and olive oil to share with you. The first is this EXAU olive oil. I love this olive oil so much. This is their Lina variation. I'm a big olive oil, I don't want to say olive oil snob because that sounds silly, but I love olive oil, and I love olive oil that you can taste. I mean, I usually have, a bottle of olive oil that's more mild for cooking, and then I have a bottle of olive oil that's a bit more fragrant and and potent in flavor. I love olive oil so much that when I went to Italy last year, I actually came home with olive oil in my suitcase, because what's better than a souvenir that you can actually eat? Their story is really cool. Skylar is a really, really talented Black businesswoman, and her husband started this olive oil company using olives from the groves that his family has owned in Calabria for hundreds and hundreds of years. And I've been just loving following them on Instagram. You can see them, doing the harvest. And you can tell that they're just a really passionate small business, and they're really passionate about the products that they come out with. This particular type of olive oil, called Lina, is actually named after his mother, and they kind of likened it, this has more peppery notes, and they likened it to her peppery personality, which was really cute. And this olive oil just tastes so good by itself. Just, some fresh tomatoes, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper. That's all I need. This just on bread is so good too. I just put some bread in the toaster and then just drizzle a little bit of olive oil, rub some garlic on there, and it's just such a good snack. This is an amazing olive oil to use on salad dressings. They do have 2 other variations of their olive oil that are still available. They also have an olive oil subscription club that you can subscribe to, that I'm actually considering joining when they take signups again. But I love like a peppery green tasting olive oil when it comes to just eating it straight up on bread or in salads or something like that. So big fan of this. And then I saw an Instagram ad for this cereal, and I was like, I need to try this. So I bought it, and it's delicious. It's by the brand Magic Spoon. They kind of positioned themselves as being like a slightly healthier alternative to conventional cereal. I bought the fruity flavor. This is supposed to kind of be the dupe for Fruit Loops, and it actually tastes exactly like Fruit Loops. Honestly, I don't know how they did it. This is not vegan. They do use milk protein powder to make this, but their big selling point is that their cereal contains 11 grams of protein, 3 grams of net carbs. It's grain-free, gluten-free, and the sugar that they use is allulose, and so it's not like conventional sugar, and that's supposed to give you more benefits. I don't know. You're supposed to feel better about yourself if you eat this every morning as opposed to Fruit Loops. But I don't eat this every morning, but it's been a really fun way to kind of tap into my nostalgia for Fruit Loops. And they also have a peanut butter flavored one that is incredible. So that's my food recommendation. Then for books, I don't have the physical books here, so I'm going to put the picture of the covers on screen because I was reading them on my e-reader. But 2 books that I finished recently that I really enjoyed. The first being The 5th Season. And I don't usually dabble into sci-fi. My husband is really, really big into sci-fi. He has this large collection of sci-fi books that he's into. And I've tried to read a few, and sci-fi just hasn't really been my thing. But then I decided to give this book a try. It's a trilogy. It's the first book of 3. I have yet to read the other 2. So far this was the first one, and I loved it so much. It has a strong female protagonist. It takes place in the very distant future when, the Earth is there's random earthquakes, there's a lot of volcanic activity, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned it on my channel, but I was a big geology nerd, and geological activity is really exciting to me, so maybe that's why I found that book particularly thrilling. But it has great reviews. Even on Goodreads, it has like a 4.5 star rating. So it can be a little bit confusing when you start reading because you're just kind of introduced. It's like you're being slapped in the face with all these new terms, and there's these new species, and it's not just humans on the planet, and there's so much activity going on, and the story is being told by 3 different voices in 3 different time periods. So it can be a bit hard to follow, but I promise, stick to it, stick through it, and you will be blown away. I hope you will be blown away. I really, really enjoyed it. It was just such an incredible experience reading it and just kind of escaping into that world. For more of a light summer read, I finally read Daisy Jones and the Six. This has been on my to-read list since last year, and I loved it. It was a really fun, I would put it in like the beach read category. I read about 4 of her books so far, and they are the perfect beach read for me. She just does a really good job at telling a story and keeping you really gripped. Like, you really want to know what happens next. I really loved her other book, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That was a book loosely inspired by Elizabeth Taylor's life, and then Daisy Jones and the Six is loosely inspired by Stevie Nicks and Fleetwood Mac. So after I finished the book, I was listening to Fleetwood Mac for about 2 weeks straight. I hadn't really spent a lot of time listening to them in a while. They kind of remind me of my dad. He was really, really into them. But so it's been a fun experience, listening to Fleetwood Mac, reading Daisy Jones and the Six. And I like the fact that the book was written, it's kind of like narrating a documentary made about the band. And I feel like the author does that often. She has really fun twists on the way that she tells a story in her books. And if you're into you just want a light, fun, captivating read for a nice little summer weekend, definitely check out her books. I think that's about it. For TV, I haven't really been watching that much TV. We did finish the first season of Indian Matchmaking, which was, I really hope they do a second season because I'm invested in the people and I want to know if they found the one. Did they get married? Did it work out? I need to know. I have a weakness for like dating reality TV shows. I think that's about it. I'm looking around to see if I missed anything, but I don't think I did. I've mentioned all the products that I wanted to mention. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.